The car that would only drive in reverse, the surprise boxes, the poor people boxes, and my childhood at age 5. Stories from my life. Grandma's porch. Sit down, relax, enjoy. Here on Grandma's porch. Growing up poor and the car that only drove in reverse. Hello, y'all. I'm Dianna Brianne. Well, as y'all know, I've been sharing little stories from my life here lately, and just to kind of come up and be a little bit more, just something lighter, because I deal with a lot of heavy topics. I don't give advice, suggestions, information, or recommendations, but I just thought, you know what, I want to tell little stories. Some I've already told. Some I'm adding more details, some I'm repeating, and some of them are brand new stories. And this one has to do with when I was little. I was about 5 years old. My parents had gotten a divorce when I was about 4, somewhere in that. My brother and my sister got married. She was very young when she got married. And my brother and I moved with my mom to a house next to a church in a little town. We had lived out in the country prior to that. And so it was just a tiny, itty bitty little town. I mean, it had a hardware store, was like their main store. It had a couple small bar restaurants and a little grocery store. I think it had a bank, but it was so small. It was so small. It wasn't a big town. It was a small southern-like town. And so we moved into a house, and we were the poor people, and I moved next door to a little boy that we called the rich little boy, because, well, they were able to buy a house. They had a nice house. Even though it was an older house, it was a nice old house, and well kept, and they bought a new car every year. Well, we couldn't afford a new car. We couldn't even afford the rundown car that we had. And then we lived next door to a church, directly next door to a church, and I used to go every Sunday to that church for Sunday school, and I actually got a little gold cross, a little white cross with gold print on it, and that I still have it to this day, when I was 5 years old, for perfect attendance. I think I had the best attendance in the whole class, and part of that was because I lived right next door, just steps from the church. And it was just a little church. And then then we had the Dirty Necks. They lived just a little bit down the road, but their garbage could blow into our yard and, kind of smelled. And so we didn't like that. So anyhow, so we had the Dirty Necks, the poor people, which was us, and the rich people next door. And rich in our little town really was not rich. It was just, but it looked rich to me, looked rich to us. And so anyhow, my brother was about 15 when he got his driver's license. And so my brother and I would drive my mom's old car, and it was really an old car. It was like a 56 Chevy or Oldsmobile. I can't quite remember what kind it was, but I think it was a Chevy. And it was the two-tone, like the red and the white, with the hard top and all that. And I remember that we were so poor that we always ate well. I have to say that we always ate well, because my mother knew how to stretch a dollar. And yet we would go get what we called the poor people's boxes. The poor people boxes, they were boxes called commodities. This is way before food stamps ever came about. And they were boxes that they gave you that had like flour, coffee, maybe a little piece of meat, some vegetables, canned goods, sugar, things like that. and we would go get that box. Well, my brother and I would go get it. So I was 5 and he was 15, and he had his driver's license. Well, we had this old car, and some of the time it would only go in reverse. So you had to drive the car in reverse. And so my brother would say, okay, you sit up in the front seat on the passenger side, look out the window, keep your head kind of stuck out the window as I go in reverse through the town to go get the box of commodities. So I was on the lookout for the police to make sure they didn't pull us over for going in reverse. And we were known as the car that went in reverse. Everybody knew our car because it went in reverse a great deal of the time, because something would stick and for some reason it wouldn't go forward, and so we had to go backwards. So we would drive through town in reverse. And I mean, everybody, like I said, they knew it and there was no problem with it, but we just didn't want to get caught, you know what I'm saying? So I would stick my head out the window and my brother would drive in reverse, with his head backwards so he can make sure he knew what he was doing. And then we would go and we would, walk the steps up to pick up our box of commodities, and as they were called, our food products. And they were also, we called them surprise boxes too. So they were either poor people's boxes or surprise boxes. And so we never knew what we were going to get. So we'd bring it home, and then my mom, we'd put it on the table, and then she'd cook whatever was in there. And so I would play next door with the little boy, the rich little boy, who had a whole bunch of Barbies. He played with Barbie dolls, and he had all the little Barbie dream houses and all the things that went with it. And we were too poor, so I only had a Midge doll, because Midge cost $2 and Barbie cost $3. But he had like a lot of Barbie dolls. And so we would play together. We would play together and walk to school together. His name was Kirby. And Kirby and I always had a lot of fun. I liked to go to his house because he had all the latest games and latest things. And, half of my toys were broken. So, that was kind of my early part of my childhood. We played in the street. We had a little street, and there was no big deal. Back then, kids could play outside from morning to night, and as long as you were home for dinner, that was it. That was it. And so, but yeah, we were poor, and it was okay. My mom knew how to stretch a dollar, and to this day, she's taught me skills that I've taught my own children, like how to make homemade noodles out of just flour and water. Wonderful homemade noodles. And how to make grits, and how to fry green tomatoes, and how to fry pickles. And there was so many things that my mom taught me how to stretch a dollar and how to feed a family on very little money. And we always ate well. We always ate well, and we dressed well. And a lot of, my clothes were hand-me-downs. But yeah, we dressed well. My mother always put it together really, really well. Well, I wanted to come on here and talk a little bit about that part of my life. I hope you enjoyed it. So from my house to yours, may God bless you. And I hope you like, share, subscribe to all 5 of my channels. Links are pinned to the top of the comment section below. If you connect with me, I will likely connect with you as well. Hope to talk to you then. May God bless you. Bye-bye. Porch, a place to relax and a place to enjoy.